Some of you have just given up the fight. You got an injury and you instantly threw in the towel. You went from alpha to beta real quick. Well, today I am going to be reviewing a heavy-duty piece of home gym equipment that will instantly kick you out of that victim mode mentality. The No Fate channel, checking in. Jonathan here with the Bells of Steel heavy-duty belt squat machine 2.0 review for you. This allows you to squat even when you've got shoulder, wrist, and back injuries. Hell, you can even squat when you have herniated discs with this bad boy. How does this medieval torture chamber work? Well, first you load up the plates, clip yourself in, stand up, pull the lever back, and then you simply squat until you're hot. Now, with a typical barbell squat, you have all of the weight compressing your spine, aggravating your shoulders, your wrists, and any herniated discs that you may have. Now, as a person who has a herniated disc, I'm always looking for ways to squat pain-free. I know whenever I put a barbell straight on my back, it is Snap City. The beauty of this belt squat is that you have all of the weight around your waist and on your hips pulling you down. So you get all of that beautiful resistance on your legs. You get that squat movement with your legs, your knees, your hips, all of that great stuff, but you don't aggravate your lower back. Now, you know we do honest reviews here, so I'm not gonna put the elephant in the room at the end of the video. We'll put it right up front, and that is the cost. Show me the money! We all know money is tight, it's tough times out there, and this Bells of Steel belt squat machine runs $1 grand. Now, that is a lot of money. However, when you take a step back and consider this thing is 11 gauge steel, 264 pounds to be exact. Damn! Meaning, for Bells of Steel just to ship it to you probably cost them $150 right out the gate. On top of that, it's powder coated and comes with a lifetime warranty. Forever. While I love Bells of Steel as a company, I will say you sit on a throne of lies. If you go to the assembly video, you will see that they claim you can do the assembly in 20 minutes. And they tell you that you should just assemble it on a desk or a platform. Well, I will tell you straight away, this took me 2.5 hours to assemble.
Pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
And I was lucky if I got it out of the box in only 20 minutes. Plus, assembling it on a table sounds great and probably makes the assembly easier, but then you've got to figure out how you're gonna get this 264-pound behemoth off of said table. I've been using the Bells of Steel Belt Squat 2.0 for 2 months now, and I have to admit, I absolutely love it. Everything that they claim it can do, well, it comes pretty close. Number one, as far as squats go, which is of course the most important, it feels natural, it feels comfortable, and you absolutely feel it 100% in your legs.
And it feels different, it feels fantastic.
You're able to load this thing up with way more weight than I could ever lift, and you can just get after it. And most important about it is that you don't feel that nagging pain on your lower back, and you don't have to be concerned about hitting Snap City. Now, one thing that I absolutely was concerned about when it comes to this behemoth was the range of motion. I like to squat low, and with this thing you can absolutely get ass to grass when it comes to your squats. It has a cutout here so you can go super deep. And the beauty is, if you happen to fail a lift and you're absolutely in the hole and can't get out, you can just let it hit the ground. No damage is going to be done. You're not going to be injured, and all you have to do is simply unclip your belt. We know in a home gym that every dollar and every inch matters, so I was a little concerned about the overall footprint of this belt squat machine, but when I got it in-house and assembled it, I found that it just wasn't as massive as I had thought. Reason being is the loading pins. I was able to assemble these vertically. You can assemble them horizontally. The benefit of horizontal loading is that the plates go on and come off very easily. The vertical saves you a ton of space, and you're going to have a little bit more difficulty taking the plates off. But if you use spacers or you use change plates in between the 45s, you're gonna be absolutely fine. Also, with regards to loading up massive amounts of weight, if you're trying to change the power curve on this, you can use bands on this. They've got the band pegs set up easy peasy to strap on a band on each side and get after it. When squatting, I did feel it just a little bit more in my quads when compared to a typical back squat. Reason being, the force is pulling you down and forward because of this lever arm. Keep in mind, if you were going to be using Rogue Rhino attachment or even a Squat Max MD, that weight is literally like pulling you straight down. There's no forward component of that, and that is going to mimic a back squat just slightly better. Overall, it wasn't that big of a concern. When I wanted to hit a bit more hamstrings, I was able to widen my stance almost like a sumo deadlift and felt that a lot more in my hamstrings versus my quads. Now, one thing I figured was going to be an absolute nuisance, but in reality, I'm glad it's there, is the handle. This is one of those things that once you have a handle, you're gonna be glad you do, because it makes the exercise just a little bit more stable and secure when you're going ultra heavy or when your legs are absolutely fried, but you're still trying to jack up the volume. I will say it makes it feel almost like a leg press where you're able to really rep out this exercise and feel stable, feel secure, not hurt your back, and not just jack up your CNS system. Now, if you listen to the marketing mumbo jumbo from Bells of Steel, they claim you can do like 20 different exercises. And that may very well be true. During my testing, I found that most of the exercises that they claim you can do just don't feel comfortable, they don't feel natural, and it's not something you can do. Number one, if you're gonna buy this, you absolutely need to be buying it for the belt squat exercise. The two exercises that I found that I did like, number one by far and large, aside from the squat, was the dual handle shrug. I connected a chain, two different D handles, and I was able to do a really nice shrug with my hands almost at my hips in a natural position. Not only is this a great way to go super heavy on your shrugs and target your traps, but it really mimics a dumbbell shrug, but you don't have to have the super heavy dumbbells, which can be expensive, and you don't have the hassle of having to unrack and re-rack the super heavy dumbbells. The other exercise on here that felt a lot better than I thought it would was the one arm row. Simply clipping into this with a D handle, I was able to hit back very heavy, and it reminded me of doing a landmine row. Now you can also do the auxiliary exercise of marching in place, and that's one of those exercises that looks really funny when you see people do it, but once you try it, you realize it does have a lot of benefits. I also found it fun to experiment with what I call sumo deadlifts, setting up my squat stance ultra wide and really engaging a lot more of my hamstrings. Let's talk brass tacks. For a lot of you, that $1,000 price tag is gonna be a no-fly zone because it's just gonna be more than your budget can handle. I will say you can get yourself a rack-mounted belt squat attachment that is going to come in significantly less and take up less space. But as we all know in life, there's no free lunches. I have one of those. They're not as good. They don't feel as comfortable, and it's not as nice in terms of the range of motion as your belt squat from Bells of Steel here. But if you're in a pinch or if you're just on a tight budget, they will get the job done. And now it's time. It is time for my final thoughts on the Bells of Steel Belt Squat Machine 2.0. And it absolutely delivers on the price tag, on the performance, and it delivers on letting you hit squats, especially if you have a bad back. I want the truth! Now, I will be the first to admit it's not gonna 100% mimic a rear back barbell squat, but it's gonna come really close, and it's gonna take all of that pressure off of your vertebrae and allow you to stay in the fight. You can do a few different exercises on here besides the squat, but clearly if you're buying this, you absolutely should be buying it solely for that squat that you can't do with a barbell. Now, if you can barbell squat, but you kind of want a piece of equipment that allows you to just go after it with regards to reps and heavy weight, but not really fry out your CNS, This thing is fun. Oftentimes when I do squat with my safety squat bar at the beginning of my workouts, I love coming over to this, loading up the weight and just hitting reps of like 15 and 20 and absolutely just attacking those legs. At the end of the day, if you have the space and the money, I absolutely recommend this Bells of Steel belt squat machine. All the marketing hype aside, all the fit influencer BS telling you that the link is in the description aside, I absolutely use this belt squat machine way more than I ever thought I would. Even after the initial testing phase where I really had a good understanding of how this worked, I have been incorporating this into my back days, my trap days, and of course, my leg days. Now, if space and money are an issue, and there's absolutely no shame in that, we've all been there before, you really should consider a rack-mounted belt squat attachment if you're looking to kind of test the waters on a belt squat. It's not going to be as great as this thing, but it will get the job done at a fraction of the price. Two more things that will absolutely get the job done, but not cost you anything. These two videos, watch them next, and as usual, thanks for watching, and don't save anything for the trip back.